There are a lot of anime this season that could be considered anime of the season. I mean, you've got Megalobox, which is doing really good looking things over here. You've got SAO with the Battle Royale stuff, and everybody loves Battle Royale. Then you've got Tokyo Ghouls doing something, and then of course you've got Hero Aka, which is always awesome. But then you have the show of the season, and I will announce to you, the show of the season is Golden Kamuy! Yep, and I stand by that to this day. What is up, YouTube? It's RSMario here, bringing you another anime review, and this time we talk about Golden Kamuy! So yeah, Golden Kamuy is arguably the best show of the season. I don't know, there's a couple shows I haven't finished yet. Specifically Megalobox, which I hope to finish sometime this week so I can do that review. But yeah, so far, best show of the season, bruh. Best show, hands down. But yeah, Golden Kamuy follows the story of Sugimoto the Immortal, a former Japanese army member who fought in the real-life war, Russo-Japanese War. Now, of course, none of the characters in this show are actually real characters, but it does take place in a real setting after a real war. So he is on the island of Hokkaido, and he stumbles across this search for mysterious gold. So the Anyu, who are the Aboriginal people of Japan, which we're going to learn a lot about through the course of the show, they found this gold, and the gold eventually disappeared. So somebody killed all the people who knew about it and took the gold, and one of the people who did that was this older guy who is in jail. He tattoos the map onto all these prisoners that are in the same cell block with him, and then eventually they escape, not including him because, well, he's kind of incapacitated. So the rest of them escape, and basically everybody, including the army and a whole different faction of people, are looking for these people for the map. Sugimoto stumbles across this, and he too is now looking for the map for the gold so he can help his friend's family get to America. And that's the story. That's really all we get. Now, the story in this show, while it's kind of light because it is season 1, of course they already confirmed that there's a season 2, a lot of the story and the interesting parts of this show is built up by the characters. There are a ton of characters in this show, and all of them are interesting. Like, you have Asripa, who is an Anyu girl who he meets, and his bond builds with her throughout the show. You have, I cannot remember his name, but he is like a master escape artist and thief. He's also with them, comedy relief. You have the guy who talks about his dick. You have various psychopaths. Another guy who talks about his dick, a Japanese mountain hunter, a Mitagi. You have a ton of interesting characters. And speaking of Mitagi, I didn't know what that was before I saw this show. It's actually a winter hunter in Japan. They're like expert hunters in the mountains of Japan, and they come out in the winter to hunt all kinds of animals. One of them is in this show, and he's actually a pretty interesting character. There's so many deep cuts to Japanese culture and Anyu culture. Now, I knew about the Anyus myself because, of course, Mugen is rumored to be an Anyu in Samurai Champloo. So that's really where I kind of heard about it after I heard about that theory. But you learn so much more about just day-to-day Anyu culture. They name their children after, filthy things in order to keep evil spirits from taking them away. and that they eat pretty much everything. Everything from bear and deer down to squirrels. And that's another big part of the show, which is kind of the culture and this, the next thing I'm going to talk about are kind of a good thing and a bad thing for the show, because they kind of act like filler. And the next thing is the hunting and the food section. There's a lot of food in this show, and a lot of cooking, and a lot of this is what we do, and this is part of our culture, which is great, but it kind of acts like filler. I mean, it does give the show an interesting character, interesting feel, and we do get to see the bond between the characters build in these little moments. But you have one of these moments almost every episode. So it's like, come on, continue finding the tattoo people. And it's weird because there's a lot of content here from what I have heard from manga readers. But it seems like they kind of stretched it out for 2 seasons. Now, I don't know, maybe they, they had to do 2 seasons. Maybe they didn't have the budget to do one 24 or 20 some odd episode show. But it seems like if you would have cut out some of these food sections, maybe you would have had more time. But then you also would have lost a little bit of the character that makes Golden Kamuy interesting. So again, it's a good thing and a bad thing. As far as other interesting points, you have the art style, which is actually pretty good, minus the CG bears. The bears, they do look like big, vicious brown blobs, but they, bears aside, everything else looks pretty good. And speaking of characters, there are a lot of psychos in this one. Not just, from the prisoners, but just in the military. Like the 7th Army Division of the Japanese military, who becomes a faction in this show that is looking for the goal for their own purposes. There's a lot of weird, crazy people in there, alright? Specifically the commander, who is one of the most interesting villains I've seen in a while. Definitely want to see what goes down with him. He got his face shot off by a cannon. So that's not like a hat or a headpiece. No, that plate probably protects his brain from the cold, because he got shot in the face with a cannon. That's the type of characters we have in the show. Another thing too, all the main characters, which includes a wolf, actually get story arcs that kind of explore them, And I'm like, this show is freaking good. The characters in the show, the music, the OP, and the ending are amazing. Alright, Winding Road, and I cannot remember the name of the ending song. I think it's The Sixth Path or something like that. But those 2 songs are amazing. Man with a Mission is quickly becoming my favorite band in Japan. They're chasing Asian Kung Fu Generation and Bump of Chicken for my favorite band in Japan right now. So then we get to the end of this season. And of course, I say this season because of course there is 2 seasons. The ending seemed a bit underwhelming. It seemed like they knew full well they were going to get another season and just decided to say, well, let's just stop it here. Because the last episode is funny, it's pretty cool. It sets up a mystery, but it's not like a cliffhanger or like the end of Made in Abyss. Made in Abyss was oh, coming back for that season 2, bruh. But the last episode did seem a bit underwhelming. So with all that in mind, I still have to give Golden Kamuy a B. That's about it. There will be some more anime reviews because there was so much stuff in this season, like Megalobox, Legend of Galactic Heroes, Sword Art Online. I mean, there are tons of stuff that's gonna get reviews. But stay tuned. Like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, folks, keep it real.